Wallabies and All Blacks. It's Bledisloe 3. It's Tri Nations 1. There's no Rugby Championship this year. Teams are out for this game from Sydney. It's a Saturday game. It's on like 7:45 local time, I think. It's 9:45 over here in New Zealand, so maybe a better time for you guys over in Europe and whatnot because it'll be a bit later in the morning than like 4 o'clock. But yeah, I'll go over the teams. As I said, both those teams are out. There's a fair few changes for both sides, to be honest, and recent history, the odds, and all that jazz. So there's a couple of debutants starting for the Wallabies in the form of Noah Lolesio, the Brumbies man. He comes in the number 10 jersey to make his debut against the All Blacks at home in a do-or-die game of Bledisloe Cup. It's a pretty tough one, but I mean, man, if you're gonna win the Bledisloe, you gotta get that win, and maybe having a guy with no baggage is gonna be a fresh look. And honestly, he's good, man. He's really good. His distribution skills, his goal kicking was solid from memory. I think goal kicking rankings on Twitter, they gave him a pretty good score. And Irae Simone is the other guy. He's going to be there at number 12. So two guys, one in the midfield, one at 10 running the show. So two pretty key positions. Maybe an area for the All Blacks to target. Expect big ball carriers running straight at Lolesio. But he's looked really good since even when he first came into the Brumbies at Super Rugby level, he never looked out of place. So if he's anything like that in the test, that'll be good on him. The front row is largely the same. It's still Slipper and Paenga-Amosa, but Alaalatoa jumps up from the bench. So Tupou, he drops down. He's got a start in the first two games. Those guys swap positions at tight head. Salakaia-Loto and Philip are the second row, so no changes there. Ned Hanigan keeps his spot in the number 6 jersey. Probably on the back of knocking Joe Moody out cold. Maybe, I don't know. Michael Hooper's captain at 7, and Harry Wilson is still there at number 8. He's only 2 games into his test career, but he's looked a bit of a natural from the game time we've seen with him. Nick White continues at 9, as I mentioned. Lolesio is 10. Simone, as I mentioned, is 12 on debut. Petaia comes into the 13 channel, and he's up from the bench. So Paisami drops down to the bench from the midfield, and Matt Tamua is out of the squad injured. So he's got a long season. It was groin injury, so he's out for ages. And James O'Connor, I think his was knee, he's out as well. So that's the reason Lolesio and Simone, in theory, get their starts. So Lolesio, Simone, and Petaia, I feel like they're going to have to score some points because the All Blacks, especially with one of their guys on the bench, which I'll get to in a minute, will be looking to cause havoc because, I don't know. Like Paisami and maybe Hamish Stewart actually, were like the big tackling, even though Stewart's not that big, he was a high tackle count guy for the Reds in Super Rugby AU. So, I don't know, defensively there may be a question mark about that 10 and the midfield combo, but we will see how things go. Koroibete and Daugunu are on the wings, and both those guys, well, actually, Koroibete I thought was really good when I went to the Eden Park game, and then I watched the game back, and he had a fair few handling errors and defensively pretty poor. He still looks good with ball in hand, even if he didn't score that one try, so it's kind of one tick with a few crosses on it for his performance. But Koroibete and especially Daugunu are pretty good strike weapons, and Dane Haylett-Petty comes in at fullback. He's recovered from his, I think it was a groin injury as well. So that means Tom Banks is out of the 23. Nothing about being injured as far as I'm aware. He is just a straight swap for, I guess, the more experienced guy in Haylett-Petty. The bench, Uelese, CO, and Tupou, as I mentioned, are the backup front rowers. Simmons is still there. Fraser McReight comes in. He'll get his debut if he gets on as well. So that means Liam Wright drops out of the 23. Tate McDermott, very, very nippy, and also a guy who can certainly spot a gap. Good, like quick thinker, knows when to take a quick tap, knows when to slow the game down, keeps the defense really in two minds because you never know when he's going to run the ball. He is there on the bench, so he will get his debut as well, which means Jake Gordon is out of the 23 as well. I honestly think McDermott here is a good call. Like, you could be arguing that he should be starting based on the AU form. But McDermott for Gordon, even though I really like Jake Gordon, I think McDermott's a good call. If you're going to bring someone off the bench, you like to think they can bring something different and add a bit of, I don't know, a bit of a threat. And I think as far as nines go, I'd take McDermott as the biggest threat that the Aussies have got. Reece Hodge is going to cover half the back line. He will be the backup 10, undoubtedly. But also he can play in the centres, the wings, fullback. And Paisami has dropped to the bench, as I mentioned. He kind of usually plays 12, 13. But I haven't seen him play outside back, so I guess Hodge is kind of covering a bit of that as well. So it's an interesting few changes for Dave Rennie's team. For the All Blacks, they've also got a few changes. Tuinukuafe comes back into the Joe Moody, as I mentioned, had that clash with old Ned Hanigan. So he's, I'm assuming, being rested and probably going through the concussion protocols. Dane Coles and Tuangafasi retain their spots 2 and 3. Tupou continues on in the second row alongside Sam Whitelock, who comes back. His return means Va'i drops out of the 23 entirely. Because remember, Sam Whitelock had concussion in that last game at Eden Park, so he wasn't able to take part. Frizzell and Sam Cane are 6 and 7. So steady as she goes there. So Tutu is your guy at number 8. Now he's in for Adi Savia. Savia is on parental leave. So he's taken a week off to be with his young child and his missus, which is, good on him. But man, Tutu looks good. Good blues man. So there's a ton of blues in this outfit, actually, to be honest. I don't know how many it is. It's a lot. Maybe I count them at the end, but it's more blues than we've had in the All Blacks in a very long time. So Tutu, he comes up from the bench to get his first start. Aaron Smith's at 9, Mo'unga's at 10. They're continuing on with that. Goodhue and ALB 12-13, continuing on there. Caleb Clark, who was just an absolute wrecking ball at the weekend a couple of weeks ago, Eden Park. He's good blues man, number 11. Geordie Barrett continues on at 14. Not the most popular selection amongst All Blacks fans. We'll still defer to Fozzie's judgment. If you're going to put a guy that big out on the wing, I'd like to see them kick him some high balls, especially because he's going to be up against Koroibete, and I'm pretty sure he's got Koroibete by a fair few centimetres, and he's probably a fair bit better in the air, but we will see. Maybe if you risk losing it to Koroibete and he gets into space, that's a bit of a risk-reward play, but anyway. And Bodie continues on at fullback, another good blues player, so there you go, loads of blues. The bench is Cody Taylor, Alex Hodgman, and he was really good on his debut last time, so he could have even started, arguably, but he's on the bench. Lomax comes into the side. Scott Barrett continues on the bench. He's fresh from his injury recovery. His game back last time at Eden Park was his first game back. Papali'i comes into the side, so he's kind of taken the spot of Savia. Savia's out, so Hoskins Tutu's in, and then, well, at least starting, and then Papali'i comes in on the bench. Perenara is 9. Laumape is there you go at 12. People have been calling for that guy to be back for an age. We finally get to see the man. Remember, he has been injured. He was not fit for the first game in Wellington, the draw, and he was probably, if he wasn't fit, a week later he would have been still touch and go. So they've given him a bit of time to get right. Hopefully he's right, and he's going to be eyeing up Simone, Petaia, Lolesio. Honestly, he'll be fancying his chances. Anyway, Enrico Ioane is back from his injury as well, so he is there. And the 23 jersey. So, yeah, I guess you got 210 starting. So if Mo'unga goes down, you can put Bodie in at 10. You can move Bodie's brother, Geordie, to 15. There's a lot of things they can do, but they haven't gotten out now 10 on the bench, kind of similar to the Wallabies. Yeah. There's no Laulala for this one because he's also on parental leave like Savia. Moody, as I mentioned, the head knock. Umaga Jensen is just out for Laumape. And Damien McKenzie is the guy who drops his spot with Rico's return. So, some interesting choices. That's a ton of blues guys, honestly. What can I say? Happy blues man. Recent times, it's 3-1 with the one draw. It still pretty favours the All Blacks. If you look at the average score, it's 28-10 over those most recent 5 games. And if you look at the bookies odds, actually, it is All Blacks by 10. If you look at Rugby Forecast algorithm, it's All Blacks by 10. Average score last 5 games, 28-18, All Blacks by 10. So that's where it goes. The last time they played at ANZ Stadium, it was 38-13 to the All Blacks away from home. So pretty comfortable win, but that was, like I said, 2018, so a wee while ago. The Wallabies have got it all to do, because they have to win, to keep the Bledisloe alive, and in terms of their Rugby Championship Tri-Nations hopes, the Wallabies have got to win. If they win it, the Bledisloe goes to 1 apiece, and then there'll be a showdown in Brisbane. But if they lose it, that's it. All Blacks retain the Bledisloe and put 1 foot forward in terms of that race for the Tri-Nations. A draw is not going to be good enough for the Wallabies this time, because if they only get the same amount of wins as the All Blacks, the incumbent will keep the trophy, and in this case, that is the All Blacks. So, yeah, pretty exciting stuff when you look at the two teams. Tate McDermott's debut is probably the main one I'm looking at. I mean, Simone as well, to be honest. He's underrated, I think. He's a good player. He's been good for a few years. He's really gotten a lot better. So, keen to see how he goes at international level, because there's a few guys who you see do well at Super Rugby level, never quite make the step up. So we'll see how Simone goes. It's a tough test for him. Likewise, Lolesio. As I said, he's been on a phenomenal rise. So I've got a bit more faith in him just on his trajectory. Whereas Simone's been around the blocks for a few years now and kind of maybe had a less kind of sharp path to that Wallabies jersey. For the All Blacks, obviously seeing Tupou get a start is pretty good times. But the fact that Laumape is back has got a smile on the dial of many an All Blacks fan, I can assure you of that. So yeah, Saturday evening, morning for some of you guys. It'll be on Sky here in New Zealand. If you haven't worked out how to watch it, ESPN Plus is probably one option for you. Although I heard from one person they started it a bit late at the Eden Park game, which is a bit frustrating. But otherwise, I think they're a pretty good service and pretty cheap. But I'll save that for the end. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one. How do you reckon it's going to go? Key selections, D-Mac being dropped, Jock being injured, Tamua. How do you think this is going to affect the teams? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later. Remember guys, if you haven't sorted out how you're going to watch these games, ESPN Plus is one way to get it done. It's relatively cheap at $6 or $5, 99 a month. It's pretty reasonable compared to the price most of us pay around the world, especially like here in New Zealand. You can watch the games live and on demand, so you can see when I searched rugby, upcoming games, New Zealand against Australia, Bledisloe Cup. Those games are listed as upcoming and on-demand games. You can see there as well. So it's a pretty good service. I've used it before for Super Rugby AU and Super Rugby Aotearoa in the past. Works really well, live and on demand. Now, because I'm in New Zealand, I had to use a VPN and connect to America to get it to work. Otherwise, it won't let you go to the sign-up screen. When you go to that, like ESPN.com/ESPN Plus, it won't let you, go to the sign-up option. It won't even show that page because it'll be like you're not in the right broadcast territory. But if you're on the VPN and you're connected to America, you can see that's me there. It works. And it's good as well because, if you want to watch the Six Nations at the weekend, which is actually on for free on ITV, you just switch this from America to the UK. So this is why, as a sports fan, having a VPN can be pretty useful. The one I use is Express. I'll chuck a link in the description. They do 30-day money-back guarantee. They do multiple options on, how long you want to sign up for and whatnot. But for me, I reckon it's a pretty decent one. So yeah, check it out, guys. If you are watching it this way, let me know how it goes. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.